Welcome back to the OHSU Effect, Inside Health and Science at OHSU. Doctors Holger Link and Kyle Johnson are with me again to talk about sleep disorders. Hi, guys.
Hello. Hello.
Okay, so one thing we want to talk more about is kind of obesity and how it's related to health, to our sleep, and specifically sleep apnea. So do one of you guys want to talk about that?
Well, I've started sleep apnea in adults. I'll start with men. In middle-aged men, it's about a 4% prevalence rate. So about 4% of middle-aged men will have obstructive sleep apnea. But obesity is one of the major risk factors for that. So an obese middle-aged man would be at substantially higher risk, and an obese middle-aged man with diabetes would be even more so. So there's a strong connection, and it also includes kids, too, that are overweight and obese.
So you're seeing more obese kids come in with sleep apnea.
We are, with severe sleep apnea.
So sleep apnea, just so everyone is on the same page, is where you stop breathing during your sleep.
Well, it can present, the primary presenting sign of sleep apnea is snoring. And the sort of stopping breathing, pausing, and then gasping is really more typical for the adult patient. So in a child, you may just see really noisy breathing, and the breathing just looks uncomfortable. So the mom or dad watch their kid, and it just doesn't look right. They just look like they're uncomfortable breathing. That would be more of a concern. Sometimes they don't see this sort of distinct stopping and pausing and breathing, but more sort of like loud, noisy breathing, and just doesn't look right.
Well, let's talk more about your sleep lab. I guess kind of what do you guys do there, and how do you diagnose people?
So first we do the clinic visit and the careful history, as Dr. Link alluded to. And then if we decide that a sleep study is needed, and not every patient that comes to see us needs a sleep study, but if we decide that one is needed, then we educate the patient and the family about the procedure and then get it scheduled. And they come into our sleep lab, which is housed at a hotel, which is very comfortable for the kids and families that come in. And they have a number of things attached to their body that we measure throughout the night. No shots or x-rays, what we tell the kids to reassure them. And it goes pretty well. They sleep in a big king-size bed, and they do have a lot of wires and connections on with tape and paste, but they generally sleep well when we get the information that we need.
But you don't always need to do that, you say. Sometimes just a visit is sufficient and you can diagnose them.
Exactly. And because one of the big complaints that patients have when they come in is insomnia, and that's just problems falling asleep or staying asleep. And if they don't have other risk factors for sleep disorder breathing or unusual behaviors in the middle of the night, then we really don't need to start with a sleep study. We might do that in the future if we gather more information that makes us concerned about a sleep disruptor, but we don't start that way.
Dr. Link, do you want to talk about your role in the sleep lab? Anything else to add there?
Well, I think what I like to emphasize is that we are a multidisciplinary team, meaning that we are doctors from different backgrounds. And I think this is really our strength, that we have Dr. Johnson, who's a child psychiatrist. We have Dr. Super, who's a general pediatrician, and myself, I'm a pulmonologist. So we can really cover the whole spectrum of diseases. If I see a patient that has more of a behavioral problem, oftentimes I will refer to Dr. Johnson, who can help me out with that patient. If he has a patient who has more of a medical problem, complex history of medical concerns or breathing difficulties at night, chronic lung disease, and I will help out with those patients. So I think we got a great team of experts, and we, I think, work very well together in taking care of very complex kids.
What are some of the warning signs for kids and adults that they really should contact you guys? That this is more than just, a rough night or a late night. What are some signs?
So we take referrals from physicians in the community, often primary care physicians. So first off, if someone has a concern about their sleep or their alertness level during the day, I encourage them to discuss that with their primary care physician. And then if that person feels like they warrant a specialty evaluation, then they'll refer to us. So what would lead to that concern? Well, problems snoring at night, obstructing in their breathing at night, snorts and gasps could warrant an evaluation in our clinic for sleep disorder breathing or sleep apnea. And then kids that are very sleepy or adults that are sleepy during the day despite getting adequate amounts of sleep at night, that's another real good reason to come see us.
What about trouble falling asleep? I know that's a problem for a lot of adults.
So that would be defined as insomnia.
Oh, okay.
And yes, that can be a major problem. So people are giving themselves adequate time in bed, but they can't fall asleep. And that is a problem that we evaluate and have good treatments for, both behavioral interventions. And then we always start with that, but then if medicines are needed, especially for the short term, we might use those too.
Well, you said you need a referral from your primary care physician, but any other way that they can contact you or maybe get more information on the sleep lab?
We have a website that you can enter through the Central OHSU website, so there's information there. And then us just doing these programs, we really pride ourselves on trying to get out to do education within the medical community and educate physicians so they know better how to refer to us.
Yeah, well, it's definitely helpful, and I think a lot of people are going to benefit from this. So thank you guys so much.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Thanks.
That's Doctors Holger Link and Kyle Johnson with the OHSU Sleep Disorder Program. This is FM News 101 KXL. Thanks for joining us.